And next, we're going to do the final chapter, Awareness, 2013. My theory of everything, or how to become the avatar you were born to be. My theory of everything is based upon credible scientific evidence and the recent discovery of the invisible God particle that intimately constructed all things that exist in the universe. The Higgs boson field, or the so-called God particle, was discovered July 4th, 2012. It exists within all matter, including each and every one of us living creatures. It holds every single atom in our entire universe together. Our universe of matter could never have been formed or existed without it. This new awareness of an intimate and personal relationship with God is just waiting to be acknowledged by each individual from 2013 on. It won the Nobel Prize, and there's a movie coming out in March called The God Particle. I don't know the exact thing, but it's actually a big movie, and it's going to start in New York. The final chapter of A Lonesome Warrior is a summary of my spiritual conclusions during the past 7 years living and working in both Dover and Wilmington, Delaware. When I returned to the United States, I learned to practice true spiritual inquiry through meditation and honest personal experience while researching the latest scientific discoveries on the internet. My conclusions are not based on hippie New Age stuff. They are based solely on my own near-death experience and subsequent research of credible scientific evidence. As a child, and you've read about it, I chased God through 12 years of Catholic grammar school, high school, and 2 Catholic colleges. I was always full of wonder and mystery about the ancient stories and concepts attributed to well-known religious personalities. I searched all my life inside every book and every testament for a real God, one I could actually feel and therefore believe, and I failed miserably each and every time. Then suddenly, it happened. I got cerebral malaria in an epidemic, and it got real personal. I died. This final chapter is my attempt to explain intimate spiritual issues I discovered on the other side of consciousness, and was asked, at that time, to keep completely secret until after 2013 as my condition for learning them. I received specific instructions during my visit to not disclose my discovery until then. I never understood why I was instructed to keep it secret until the Higgs boson field was finally discovered in Switzerland. And then, whammo, it hit me right between the eyes. This discovery proves the existence of God and how we were created. It had been predicted by seers, prophets, New Age iconic figures, and all sorts of religious personalities for eons that a new awareness in spirituality and human behavior will someday emerge. 2012 was predicted as the year triggering this particular transition. I wrote about it for years. I hinted about it for years, but I never said it out loud just like this. 2013, as the year of completion, it was predicted we will discover the true concept of individual awareness, of individual liberty. Individual liberty will emerge like a blink of an eye en masse in 2013. To wit, does the resignation of the Pope, of the Holy See, after a mere 600 plus years of infallibility and unquestioned authority, qualify as a blink of an eye? And we, of course, as a worldwide population, will all feel this massive mandate for voluntary change. It's all around us. It's on the internet. It's on TV. It's on the news every day. You can't distinguish it between the signals you're getting and the noise you're hearing. We will strongly resist all attempts by all others to control our thinking, especially the social, political, religious institutions, and all other types of group authority we created to control us. They are now kaput. Nobody trusts authority anymore. Nobody trusts the government anymore. Nobody trusts the banks anymore. Nobody trusts the rich. Nobody trusts the poor. Nobody trusts anybody. And that's the whole point. We have to have a brand new way of negotiating. Zero-sum winning and losing is gone forever. Negotiation and compromise are the only way out. There's too many people in the world and just not enough resources to go around. We have to do it, or we all go down together. Long, long ago in our evolutionary history, we voluntarily gave up the concept of individual liberty. It happened the very instant that one of us asked another to do our job. I think the Adam and Eve story says it very well. And even further, we developed economic systems that permanently destroyed personal liberty in our tribal communities, especially when we began enslaving others to do our jobs. Some control freaks still insist this type of commercial behavior is normal. People actually believe in slavery? Ooh. 2013 is the time of our evolutionary existence to wake up to the real personal liberty, the liberty that goes with discovering our individual personal awareness within. We will seek clarity with who we really are and stop following the maddening crowd, relying on others' opinions to make decisions for us. 2013, generosity is our survival tool. The generosity gene was also recently discovered during human genome research. It is a fact that we all have this common gene for kindness. Did you know that apes are the only other creature on the earth that share voluntarily? I believe this scientific fact is the basis for the ancient predictions that 2013 will be the year of true physical change, coming over the entire population. This change in attitude, or massive tendency toward kindness to others, was predicted and anticipated worldwide by all the old-time religious seers and announcers foretelling future events. DNA genome research has proven the human generosity gene and the the instinct to share for survival does in fact exist as a direct evolutionary response to groups settling and possessing land, leading to stationary agriculture survival techniques for growing starch, dominating our diets, and eventually diffusing population conflicts generated from overcrowding. Chimps and other apes, to a limited extent, have this genetic sharing habit with other chimps and apes who are strangers, but not with an immediate family. Further, non-aggressive or lazy wolves left their natural aggressive survival packs in order to continue domestic survival by tagging along genetically and sharing food with human communities. That's how we got dogs. They ate leftover meats and starchy food that resulted in the evolution of a subspecies called domesticated dogs. And so here we are, all wrapped up in pretending we got civilized by clever religious revelations, social philosophies, or animal husbandry. Talk about the romance of rationalization. Oh well, back to the original point. According to the experts, the Higgs force field was always operating as an invisible force field holding our entire universe together. God existed forever. Then in the middle of this forever force field, a singular and memorable event happened 13.7 billion years ago. I personally call it the Big Kaboom. This explosion started an intimate and exacting personal process of all existing universal matter. This massive explosion flung whatever teensy-tiny particles of matter that existed at the time outward in a straight line at the speed of light. They never would have stopped. They would have gone on forever and we would have never existed. However, this massive nuclear explosion caused these teensy-tiny little particles of matter to bump into a pre-existing invisible force field, and the resulting matter subsequently gained weight, or mass as science calls it. Matter began moving in slow circles, which means 95% of the speed of light, conforming exactly to the behavior pattern we know as the exacting and comprehensive laws of physics, proving to me the development of my lifetime haiku was absolutely on the mark. Oneness intelligence reigned before stillness changed and motion caused infinity. The recent discovery of the proven physical creation concept, plus the recent discovery of the generosity gene existing in intelligent humans, are no freaking accident. It was predicted in every spiritual community in various stories and tales for eons. If you've read any scripture, you already know this. The ancients, the prophets, and the religious seers saw this transition coming. Many predicted it. I wrote about it often on Facebook and to my personal friends on email by constant, rigorous, and often irritating daily emails during the past 9 years. Negative folks thought ancient, wild-eyed predictions were foretelling the end of the world was upon us, while positive folks, like me, saw only the future opportunity and predictable evolutionary change. It's upon us now. The simple fact is, our planet recently entered a finer vibration last December 21st, 2012. Our Earth is now hiding behind our Sun, which is eclipsing a black hole, squirting stuff at us from the center of the Milky Way. All these things are not things I made up. I've sent these out for 9 years. I have proven through science every one of these points I'm making. This cosmic journey happens every 26,000 years, give or take a few. And our time, hiding behind the Sun, will last for 7 more years. This regular cosmic event is not by choice, but by normal planetary evolutionary travel. It was documented by scientific research, and we are traveling through a band of flying rocks during these 7 years. Some evidence of this meteor activity is now upon us. Do you remember the explosion in Russia? Just a point. It was also foretold that we will be influenced biologically when we enter this cosmic journey through this period of finer vibration, whether we like it or not. So my personal advice is, for the next 7 years, stay away from negative people. The ones I know personally are already showing signs of extreme mental stress and chronic physical illness, and would dearly love some company on their negative journey. Don't join them. This is exactly the reason we are seeing a buildup of public anger and a plethora of political hate mongers now cheering for and promoting public violence. It is obvious they need to justify their anger about losing control of others. There is not one person or institution left on this earth with enough moral authority to slow or stop this trend of individual liberty. We are way past the tipping point. If people we are working with daily are not sincerely satisfied with their ordinary life, avoid confrontational conversation with them, and if pressed, bullshit them right back. Politely, use the same politically correct bullshit they use on us against them. But whatever it takes, avoid the confrontation. Further, an extremely high financial cost of global warming is finally settling in on the public consciousness, and even politicians are waking up to it. To wit, media reports of massive governmental recovery costs for current massive storms, massive fires, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions, and we are just experiencing the tip of this global warming iceberg, which, by the way, are all melting also. So I finish it off with my summary, and I call it the Trinity effect. The Trinity effect has 3 important parts and concepts that were already proven true by science. We simply need to individually acknowledge that the Trinity effect ties together everything we already know about oneness. We know for certainty an invisible, forever force field glues our entire universe together. That's 1. 2, we are aware we all possess the newly discovered generosity gene for sharing. 3, we acknowledge we all possess a commonly shared consciousness called community awareness. We can know what others are thinking. So it seems to me as I write these words, the great masters already used up all the good words I could use to explain this Trinity effect. In 2600 BC, Democritus declared, "Nothing exists except atoms and empty space. Everything else is opinion." He thought the atmos, that which cannot be divided, was the smallest uncuttable particle in the universe. Wow, what a mind 2,600 years ago. In 2,500 years ago, Lao Tzu called this forever force field the Tao, as in the Tao creates everything. This concept of oneness, or one God, then spread throughout the world